Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're asking, what does it really take to do philosophy?
Yeah, not just the romantic ideas about loving wisdom or, pondering life's big questions.
Exactly. We want to get past that. We're diving into Kadir Kubitschek's work, The Basic Condition of Doing Philosophy, to find the actual methodological core.
Right. Kubitschek really cuts through the fuzziness. He argues philosophy isn't just a feeling or a casual chat. It's systematic.
Okay, so let's tackle some common ideas. First up, philosophy is like love. Sounds nice, but
Well, Kubitschek argues that view really romanticizes it. Love is emotional, right? Intense, maybe.
yeah.
But philosophy needs rational, systematic thought.
So passion alone doesn't cut it.
Not for the actual work, no. It lacks rigor.
What about the idea that it's just about asking questions? I mean, everyone asks questions.
Sure, questioning's important. It's the start. But Kubitschek stresses that philosophy needs a method after the question. It's how you investigate.
Not just firing off queries into the void.
Ex-
Okay, here's one that might surprise some listeners. Needing ancient Greek to do philosophy. Is that really a thing people think?
Apparently so. Kubitschek calls this a linguistic trap.
Mm-hmm.
Look, knowing the original language is great for historical study, understanding Plato in context, perhaps.
Not essential for creating philosophy now.
Right. What's really crucial, he argues, is mastering your own language, your mother tongue.
So having a rich English vocabulary is actually more important for, say, an English speaker doing philosophy today than knowing Greek.
Absolutely. Precision comes from your working language. You need the words to form clear concepts. Limited vocabulary means, well, limited thinking, potentially superficial discussion.
Okay, so if it's not just feelings or questions or knowing dead languages, what is the core process, according to Kubitschek?
He draws a sharp line between just, thinking about stuff and actual philosophical work. To get from a personal opinion to a real philosophical argument, there are steps.
Right. Lay it out for us. What's the method?
Okay, think of it like this. First, identify your core concept. Really nail down what you're talking about.
Okay.
Second, define it clearly. Set the boundaries. Third, identify related concepts, its neighbors, so to speak.
How it connects to other ideas.
Exactly. Fourth, build a conceptual map. Show those relationships visually or mentally. Then you formulate a proposition, a clear statement based on all that.
And the final step.
Grounding it, using formal logic, formal inferences, to show your reasoning is sound, internally consistent.
Without that process, it's just an opinion.
Pretty much, not a developed philosophical argument anyway.
Which leads us right to classical logic. Kubitschek seems to see this as absolutely essential.
He does. It's the fundamental toolkit. It's how you test if your propositions hang together, if your arguments are, valid.
Aristotle's contribution, right?
Right. He established the system, and Kubitschek says it's still the bedrock for intellectual production. Trying to do philosophy without understanding logic.
He's like building without tools.
Something like that, yeah. It lacks formal correctness. It might be interesting, but it's incomplete from a philosophical standpoint.
And he comes back to language again, doesn't he? The importance of your native language.
He really hammers this home. Deep command of your mother tongue is vital. Why? Because precise language allows for precise thought.
But you need to be really careful with words.
Extremely. He suggests being sensitive to definitions, consulting dictionaries, even looking at etymology, the history of words. Otherwise, you just talk past each other.
Muddled language, muddled thought.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Leads to superficiality.
Okay, one last key point. Distinguishing doing philosophy from the history of philosophy. What's the difference?
It's crucial. Reading Plato in the original Greek, that's history of philosophy. You're analyzing existing ideas in their context.
Okay.
Doing philosophy, in Kubitschek's view, means generating new, original ideas and supporting them rigorously, using that method we discussed.
So a historian analyzes, a philosopher creates.
In simple terms, yes. And Kubitschek warns against confusing the two. Just knowing the history doesn't automatically make you a philosopher producing new work.
Right. So wrapping this up, Kubitschek presents philosophy as this really serious, systematic, methodological thing.
Definitely. It's not about vague feelings, intuition, or just following tradition. It requires conceptual analysis, logical checks, linguistic skill, and method.
It certainly makes you think. This deep dive really shifts the perspective away from the romantic view.
It does. It emphasizes the craft involved.
And perhaps a final thought for you listening. Consider how applying this kind of rigor, clear concepts, logical steps, precise language might actually sharpen your own thinking in other areas of your life, beyond just formal philosophy. Where else is that kind of clarity needed?
That's a great point to ponder. Thanks for exploring this.